Welcome to Rich's era. President Joe Biden promised Charlie Crist that he would strengthen Democrats in Florida this year. Now Biden is emerging, a week before the election, and the state seems increasingly out of reach for the party. Before we continue, please support us by clicking on the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for more reliable updates. Biden's state visit on Tuesday, his third trip since taking office as president, comes after more than 3 million voters already cast their ballots, with more Republicans voting early than Democrats. Voters play a crucial role in elections, but it's different from the closing message from Florida Democrats, who have focused primarily on abortion and gun control. Crist insists Biden's visit is not too late, saying the big unknown in this year's election is the woman's vote, particularly following the Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade. Getting the base out is crucial, and no one is better placed to do that than the president, Crist said in an interview. During a remark at a fundraising reception held at a beachfront home Tuesday afternoon, Biden called DeSantis Trump incarnate. "This guy doesn't fit into any of the categories I talked about. The way he treats, the way he denies," Biden said of the event, according to a joint report. "The rest of the world is watching, Charlie. He's watching us," Biden said. "It's really important that a state the size of Florida is on the right side of history." The visit comes as competition has intensified in key battleground states in recent weeks, including Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Georgia. Former President Barack Obama will campaign for the Democrats in Las Vegas on Tuesday, while the two will join forces with the party in Pennsylvania on Saturday. Polls show Biden lingers underwater in Florida, which has become more Republican in recent years. DeSantis regularly criticizes Biden on the campaign trail and in his official appearances for overinflation, gas prices, and immigration. During his campaign stops, the governor, a potential Biden challenger in 2024, spends far more time mentioning the president than Crist. Republicans have a significant financial advantage in the state. DeSantis has more than $94 million unspent, while Crist has more than $4 million, despite Demings regularly outplaying Rubio. Fernanda Mandy, a South Florida-based Democratic pollster, said Biden's previous two trips, which came after the Surfside condo collapse and Hurricane Ian, were welcome moments in which to promise At this point, any help from Florida Democrats should be welcomed and accepted, especially when he is the Democratic president of the United States, Mandy said. Biden was due to travel to Florida in July, but was canceled after tested positive for COVID-19 late September. But this trip was canceled due to Hurricane Ian approaching the state. Biden visited Southwest Florida after the deadly storm that killed at least 122 and caused tens of billions of dollars in damage. During that visit, Biden praised DeSantis for his handling of the storm and refuted a criticism made by Crist. Crist has criticized DeSantis for not doing enough to convince people to evacuate ahead of the storm. However, Crist said he and Biden spoke after the storm and that the president agreed to help Crist. "I can help you win," Crist recalls. "I told him it would mean a lot to me to come back before Election Day. He's true to his word." Biden attacked Republicans on Tuesday, saying if the GOP gains control of Congress, they would undermine Social Security and Medicare and repeal recently enacted drug pricing provisions included in the inflation-reducing law. The president also went after Senator Rick Scott, R. Florida, chairman of the Senate Republican National Committee, whose Rescue America plan calls for the wiping out of all federal programs after 5 years, a measure that, if enacted, would require a vote to keep insurance intact. Social and Medicare. Republicans, including Rubio, have distanced themselves from Scott's plan. Scott tried to get ahead of Biden's embassies by paying for ads in South Florida, criticizing Biden over taxes and urging the president to resign from office. DeSantis attempted to force Biden's appearance during a campaign stop in Pensacola. "I think we should all thank him for coming to Florida," DeSantis said. "He's a reminder to all Florida voters how bad his politics were. He reminds all voters that these Democrats are 100% behind Joe Biden." Ahead of Election Day, Crist was much more effusive in praising Biden, comments fueling the DeSantis campaign, which ran television commercials linking Crist and Biden. During the only gubernatorial debate last week, Crist argued that DeSantis was so critical of Biden because the governor was focused on a possible presidential nomination in 2024 and not his own re-election. DeSantis dodged questions about his 2024 ambitions during the debate, instead joking that "the only worn-out old donkey I want to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist." But during a later campaign appearance in Walton County, DeSantis said, "Guys really worried about who's going to rule the country next. Because nobody really knows who the hell is running the country right now." Demings, who will also take part in Tuesday's rally and is in a slightly closer race, with whom Crist has broken Biden several times over the past year, including over government proposals to Venezuela that could alienate some Hispanic voters in South Florida. He had planned to skip the September rally, which his campaign blamed on scheduling conflicts. Elizabeth Gregory, a spokeswoman for Rubio's campaign, criticized Demings for welcoming his party's failed leader and that Americans are worse off than they were 2 years ago, and they've got the Biden administration and Washington off the Democrats controlled for guilt. Christian Slater, a spokesman for Demings, did not respond to questions about Biden's visit, but criticized Rubio. "No matter how many statements your campaign sends out, this race is about a cop and going against a career politician who will say and do whatever it takes to